Hey guys, it's Jane. It's Friday today, so time for another Friday Reads. Now, I didn't get one of these done last week, so this is essentially going to be a wrap up of everything I've read so far this month and then a look at what I'm reading at the moment. I finished 3 books this month. One was Andrew Moody's Tales from the Pirate Gospel, and I've done a review of that, which I'll link if you want to go and check it out. That is a retelling of the life of Jesus based on the Gospel of Mark, told as a pirate story. So, yeah, that's kind of unusual, and I really enjoyed it. So, there's that. The second thing that I finished is this, Broken Glass by Adrienne Sterling. This is one of the books that Tanya from List Obsessed Reader sent me to have a look at. They're written by one of her former English teachers, so that's a bit special. This is a YA novel set in rural Australia. The sense of place in this is really evocative. I actually really enjoyed it for most of the length of the book, but the ending, as a lover of happy endings, the ending turned out to be a bit dark and a bit shocking. So that's that. I guess you could probably, that's probably not such a surprise given the cover art. But yeah, it's a story of a guy, a young man, I think he's about 20, who is living under the shadow of an event in his past. The actual particulars of that event don't get described until fairly well into the novel, so I'm not going to spoil that for anything. But his whole life has been coloured for years by this event, and he's only just now starting to make very tentative steps out from under the shadow of that event when another one of the people involved in that event comes rolling back into town, and everything starts getting worse again. So yeah, I've got another one of Adrienne Sterling's books that I'm going to have a look at, but the writing was really good, and actually, as I said, enjoyed it right up until the ending, so there's that. The only other thing that I've finished so far this month was Kurt Vonnegut's Cat's Cradle, which I borrowed as an ebook from my library. So that was a bit exciting in and of itself because that's the first time I've managed to do that. So yay me. It's the first Kurt Vonnegut that I've ever read. I don't know, if you haven't read Kurt Vonnegut, I don't know, what is it that you think that he writes? Because I don't think I had any idea. Cat's Cradle didn't really, I don't know that I had a specific idea about what it was, didn't strike me as what I was expecting. It's quite a short book, really super short chapters, so a page or 2 pages each. And initially at any rate, it's got a really jokey tone. It's a story of a guy who is attempting, or it's told in his first person past tense, largely it's he's retelling stuff that happened to him, and then towards the end, the present events catch up with, you're happening right now. But initially he's telling the story of what he's set out to do, and so there's a whole bunch of foreshadowing because, he'll describe something and say, but that's before I da-da-da. He set out to write a human account of the day that America dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. And one of the central characters in his story, who is now dead, but he gets in touch with members of the family to try and get stories about what happened on that day, is a guy who was the scientist who was seen as the father of the atomic bomb. He's a fictional character. Anyway, he's now dead, but his family members are around, and the author gets in touch with them, and it all becomes this, I don't know, is it a parody? What is it? I don't know. This kind of weird, they're all kind of connected to this banana republic and this made up religion called Bokenism. And I had it, yeah, for the first third or half of it, I was really enjoying the book. It was funny and it was clever and it was all this. And then I suddenly realized it was just every single person was being made fun of. Nobody, all the natives on this island were being made fun of. All of the, everybody was being made fun of. It was really cynical, and the end feeling that I came up with was that it was a bit smug. Now, it may be that I'm just not reading it in the right frame of mind because since this book came out, there's a big history of this sort of thing, and maybe reading it at the time it would have felt fresh, but it actually kind of didn't resonate with me much at all. I was enjoying it initially, and it's, you know, clever, but yeah, at the end I was like, yeah, no, I don't think so. No. So that's the 3 that I've finished. I'm currently in the middle of rereading Anathem, which I shouldn't be doing, but, you know, it just started and I'm doing it anyway. I'm 2/3 of the way through, and yeah, Neil Stephenson, what can I say? I'm getting ready for Seven Eves, which is due out next month, so I'm excited about that. The other thing that I'm reading at the moment is The Swan Book by Alexis Wright. I'm not very far into that. Hopefully next week will be better for me on that score. I've had the kids home from holidays, and so I'm only really getting much reading done late at night, and I was struggling reading The Swan Book late at night, which is kind of why I swapped over to Anathem. But next week, school's back! Yay! So, you know, things will change. The only other thing I want to mention is I went to the library on Tuesday to pick up my Hold. This is one of the books nominated for the Hugo, and it looks like a stonker, so I don't know anything about it, but at some point I'll be reading that, hopefully before it's due back at the library. But they were having a library sale, so that was a bit exciting, and I picked up 10 books for $1. Win. And one of them was the first Harry Potter book, so I would show that, you know, wave it in front of you now, but one of my kids who'd never read it before is stuck in the middle of it and can't put it down, so I don't have that. But this is one of the other ones I picked up, Jimmy Corrigan, which I've seen. I know this is old because I've been seeing this in bookshops for years and years and years, but I've never actually read it. It's a graphic novel, and I'm looking forward to finally getting a look at that. Anyway, that's me. That's Friday. I've got to get out of here. I hope you're all well, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.